Right, so welcome back to Northern Runners. I'm Elle, and this is...
Hello, I'm Jonathan.
I am the blonde runner, and what's your
I'm
handle?
just Jonathan.
You're just
I
Jonathan.
I just have a name. If you've known me for a while, I'm Johnny, but I'm just Jonathan.
Jonathan. Right, so we're going to talk about starting off running.
Yeah.
So we've done like a bit of an intro into us, how we got started, but this is like what we're actually doing.
What does Joe Blood need to start running?
So I think I said about in the other one that actually for me, I just thought, you know what, I've got my beats and I've got my treads, my little shocks. In fact, I were running in Osweges. I did that 5K in Osweges. And you know what? It's just
I'm
so
proud of
foolish.
myself. I know what Osweges are.
I'm
proud of myself.
You're down with kids.
I'm down with kids.
Not as cool as me, though, are
No,
you?
that's fine. Sat here wearing sambas.
I know, you always copy my trainers. But yeah, just thought I'd get that in there before you.
Well, so that's the argument for another time.
So yeah, starting off running, like, what do you actually need?
Yeah.
Where do you start?
Where do you start? So, and we always say it, and we'll probably continue to say it, if you run, you're a runner.
Yeah.
Yes, but you do probably need the levels of basic equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Decent pair of shorts.
Yeah.
Which
shorts.
I'm going to get into shorts, because we don't want chafing, do we?
Leggings.
Well, shorts, leggings, whatever works for you.
Do men wear leggings?
Oof,
Are they tights? Tights though, for men?
You do see the odd bloke wearing a pair of leggings, and
Leggings.
it's not flattering.
Is it not?
No, it's...
I feel like men should be like maybe a little bit harder.
I'm a full... What?
Like, no.
I'm a full-blown shorts
Maybe
man.
they should be like, just, yeah, like, okay, let's switch the word. Tougher, like,
Tougher.
go out in shorts
your
regardless of...
Yeah, so shorts basically vary depending on the time of year. So you got your racing shorts,
Yeah.
slightly longer shorts for summer, and then your slightly longer shorts for winter, and then that's it.
Okay.
I don't really...
So we vary in length for men.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And then what do women go for?
Women, do you know what? Like, depends. Sometimes I'll run in my leggings.
Right.
If I'm doing a speed session, I actually like really running in my shorts and really nothing.
Yeah.
Just because, obviously, you do get warm, but I don't know. I feel free.
Yeah.
My legs feel like they can do what you tell me
Go
to
a bit
do.
further.
Yeah. So, yeah, shorts.
But for everyday people just starting out running, you just need that comfortable sportswear, shorts, leggings, tracksuit bottoms, whatever suits you. Jumper, t-shirt, same again with that. If you're just starting out, and then a comfortable pair of trainers.
Now, trainers though, right? So I started in Osweges.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I've run in shocks as well pre-COVID, but this was one of the first things that I was like pulled up on, obviously.
Yeah.
Because Osweges are just a fashion trainer, and I was told to get a decent pair of trainers.
Yeah.
Me not knowing about trainers, which I can totally relate with, some clients have said to me, God, I didn't realise trainers actually have a certain amount of miles in them.
Yeah.
Never knew this.
Yeah.
Like,
So they go off.
mind blown. How does a pair of trainers have so many miles in them? So, yeah, so they go off different mileage. So, obviously now I have my easy everyday mile trainers, I have my racing trainers, I have my speed trainers.
Yeah.
So I have like...
Have a rotation.
Yeah, so this marathon block is so much different to the other one through experience, really, for me. I have like 4 that I switch through, depending on... Oh, and I have spikes as well. Because I'm
See.
I love a good pair of spikes on the track.
Athlete territory now, where your spikes on.
We aspire to be.
Supposed to be normal northern running. Running in spikes.
Yeah. So, yeah, like... What trainers do you do your everyday miles in?
So I'm a Nike man. So I have my easy long runs. I have a pair of Nike Invincibles.
How many miles have they got in?
They're a proper hard wearing shoe then, because there's no carbon plate in them. So they're a real soft cushion shoe. And again, we're getting a little bit technical here, but they have what's called a Zoom X foam on them. So it's just sort of really soft foam. That's to make it more cushion. They're not designed to go fast. They're there to give you a lot more support, to cushion everything, to make it a little bit less strenuous on your your joints. There's not much in terms of, or if any, go in them. Do you know what I mean? There's no spring in them. You'll not get much in terms of assistance out of the shoe, whatever.
Bet you can still do a fast mile though, you in there, mate.
Oh, on one leg, mate. On one leg. So if you're looking for a really, from my opinion. If you're looking for a really comfortable, hard-wearing, plodding type shoe, that's the one to go to. My sort of middle distance miles, where I'm sort of doing up to sort of 10 half marathon distance, stuff like that, at a tempo-ish pace. I have a pair called Zoom Fly 5s, which again, it's a night shoe. There is a bit more of a carbon plate in them, but they're heavily stacked with the Zoom X foam, so there's a little bit more cushion in them in compared to your racing shoes, say your Vaporfly, your Alpha Fly.
And you just, I know we're not getting too technical in this bit, but just to clarify on the carbon plate and the Zoom foam, what do you mean by that? Like, just explain what we mean when we don't get much in the Invincibles, but we do when we have our carbon plate.
So there's a carbon fibre plate in the sole of the shoe, so the sort of midsole of the shoe, and that makes it stiffer. So it makes it a little bit more uncomfortable to run in compared to, let's say, an Invincible, which doesn't have one in, because they're harder underfoot. But because of the carbon plate, it doesn't allow that much flex in the shoe, and you get some more propulsion out of the carbon plate, which will drive you forward a little bit.
Which is what we want.
Which is what we want.
We all want to be faster.
We all want to be faster.
It's all the way.
We don't want to be running around in a pair of Crocs, do we? So we want to be faster. But yeah, that's all it is. And again, it's probably getting a little bit too technical for what we need. But I'd always said to people to get into running, get a pair of running shoes, a branded pair of running shoes, whether it's Nike, Asics, Brooks, whatever. But as long as they're comfortable for you, people really overanalyze how much, I've got pronation, I supinate my foot, and I got this and I got that. If they're comfortable, they'll be fine.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And I'll probably get struck down by some Twitter guru that thinks they know everything about...
No, TikTok.
So, think they know everything about foot posture and gait and all this type of stuff. As long as the muscles around the joint are fine and everything's strong and everything's efficient and everything's moving properly, as long as your trainers are comfortable, it's fine. Like, people really overanalyze it, and they're too quick to whack an insole in and go, let's stick an insole in, it'll be fine. Just focus on the anatomy rather than trying to get into that.
I started off in Infinities, Nike Infinities.
Okay.
So Kieran recommended me to get the Infinities, which I did my full marathon block in. I felt I've got what you've got now, so I've got Invincibles for this marathon block. But my Infinities were just great. I could get a good speed session, treadmill or outside in them. You're not a fan of them, I know. You said that the Infinities before, I don't think. Do you use them for work?
So I had a pair of the Infinities for work. And just walking around clinic and all that type of stuff, I thought, there's no way I'm running in these.
They're probably just not like as spongy as what I would say the Invincibles are. But they're a great all-round shoe to get to start off with. And they did the job. I never had my gait measured or anything like that. I know people were like, you need to go and get your gait measured and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But... I never did. I've thought about it now. So for me, I've thought about going to get my gait done to see, just because I think we'd said in one of our sessions, we were trying to fine tune things a little bit more. So I think I would get my gait done now, but starting off, you just need to be comfy, don't you?
You just need to be comfortable, and you just need to gain that confidence. I know we touched on it in the last one. It was the mistake I made for months of don't run full tilt all the time. Get a pair of comfortable trainers, get your right gear on, and just go and enjoy it. Don't be too bothered about running fast, what your time is, what your distance is, or whatever. Run how you feel. Keep it easy, and then we'll see where we get to. So when you first started out, did you go all out? Did you buy all the gear? Did you buy all the clothes? Did you buy all the trainers? Or did you just go, right, like I said, I've got my Osweegies and I've got a pair of shorts and these will do for a bit?
Yeah, do you know what I call people about all gear, no idea. You know what I mean? I've done it, it's like, it used to happen in horses, they used to rock up, big wagon, and couldn't ride for anything. Yeah. Just because you've got all the gear doesn't mean that you're going to get a fast marathon time or a fast 5K or anything like that. As I've learnt, running comes with experience and running comes with years and doing it, because the more you do it, the longer you do it, the faster you get. We all start off and we want to be like rapid, so we buy the best shoe and we throw money into it and stuff. I think for me, I just did the essentials of setting up. I was already quite sporty, so I already had your just general
general
night
sports
leggings
gear
and
and
stuff like that anyway. One thing I did struggle with was sports bras.
Right, okay.
I know that sounds thingy, but
I have the same issue.
yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll get onto your nipples soon, so don't you worry. But
Right, okay.
for me, my sports bra really struggled, and obviously women, all sizes, will struggle with
Yeah.
what do you wear, you
Yeah.
know, because you want to keep them secure, but I was also getting chafing underneath.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily, obviously, my boobs bouncing around or anything like that. It was the chafing underneath. It was a burn.
Yeah.
So finding that was really important.
On that, obviously it's not really an issue that fellas have. I
No.
know there's probably women listening to this, and well, hopefully there's plenty of women and blokes listening to this. But for our lady listeners, do you find it's difficult to get accustomed to of running with boobs? Like,
So
do they get in the way? Is what I'm trying to say.
right. So for me, I had a boob job done in 2018. Okay. So I already had big boobs anyway. I'm not afraid to say. So I already had double D boobs, and I had a boob job just to make them look fuller because I've got a long chest. Okay. Fast forward, I want to start running.
Right.
They've never caused me a problem. In fact, the better because I never wear a bra.
Right.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
You're just free. Which us runners love running because we're just free. So you can imagine my boobs love the same. So then when I started running, obviously I'm trying to strap them down. So I started with a medium support bra,
Right.
which is usually one without the tightening on the back or without a bra strap
Like a
fastened
clip
on the
or
back.
something.
Yeah, without
Right.
a clip. So I started with that, and it wasn't holding them down, and it wasn't giving me the support I needed there. So I fished around a bit, it was a bit of a problem. I was coming back from my runs, and I can't even tell you, I had a band underneath my boobs, and it was just a pure burn. I was screaming when I was getting in the shower because it was that sore.
Right.
And again, that's because of them not being strapped down properly, and not the right bra. So it took me a while to find recommendations of people and stuff to find a bra that is good for me, along with a chafing balm as well.
Yeah.
So both. I'm having a little bit of trouble at the minute I've started only recently using a heart rate monitor under my sports bra.
Yeah.
So again,
Anyone who doesn't know an heart rate monitor, what you're talking about, the Garmin one, it's like a elasticated band around your chest, and it'll sit sort of where your breastbone is.
yeah,
That sort of
so
area.
right underneath where I chafe.
Yeah.
That obviously I've stopped the chafing. I found a Nike bra sports bra, high support. It's got two elastic straps there that can alter, and also an adjustment on the back with two straps on the back. So that's what's worked for me, with a chafing balm as well.
See, this is what you don't, as a bloke, we obviously never even considered it. This is because I know you'd mentioned this obviously last year, and it was an issue you had for ages, wasn't it? Ages, and we're, again, what we sort of said in the last podcast, where this is a normal person's problem. I mean, this is a normal runner's issue that...
And just something that nobody speaks about.
No, do they?
Because it's a pair of boobs, but...
Oh, you can't say boobs.
You can't say boobs,
Can't,
and I just think
You get
at the end of
cancelled.
well, exactly, but we're talking about.
It's just anatomy.
Yeah, you have to deal with it. But the more people talk about it, which is obviously a little bit of the drive for this podcast as well, the more people talk about subjects that are a bit, that you shouldn't speak about, or a bit, I don't know, provocative. I don't know, prim and proper and whatnot. I think the more you speak about it, the more it just normalises it.
Yeah.
It's just a pair of boobs.
Because on that, with the greatest respect, some people want to get into running for no other reason than I want to lose a bit of weight.
Yeah.
So whether they're feeling a little bit self-conscious or whatever it is, or they're carrying a little bit more pounds than they were since Christmas and all that type of stuff. So they might be feeling a little bit bigger in other areas, places like that. So it's a really good bit of advice in terms of finding something that'll give them that support. Because especially if they're carrying a little bit more weight than they'd like
for
to,
women,
or they have done in the past,
Yeah.
they will notice this type of chafing.
Yeah. Women put it on the boobs as well. Like it's one of the first things, just
Right.
anatomy. You know, we're supposed to carry babies and things
Yeah.
like that. So it's for boobs, it's for our belly. Like that's what the
And that's just where it goes.
It's just where it goes.
Yeah.
So obviously, I'd had my boob job, so I've got implants in there as well.
Yeah.
And then I've gone through a fat loss phase. So then my implants now are actually affected. So at the end of this month, I've got an appointment to actually see my surgeon to have
Right.
them removed.
Okay.
Because the fat that I did have, that you're saying that most women do, is now gone. You can actually see the shape of my implant, and it's actually really not my confidence as
Yeah.
well. So although fat loss is great, it's caused the other issue of, you know, it's
just
not
how
my
how
confidence.
your body changes, isn't it? And it
Yeah.
does change massively. And again, that's something that people who've probably been through a similar block that we've been through over the last 12 months or so will notice that my body body shape, has changed massively. So when I was finished swimming, swimming leaves you with a really bizarre physique. You end up with a really wide back, really broad shoulders, but just gangly arms and gangly legs. Because you're always in the pool, so you're not really lifting anything or anything like that. So you just end up this triangle, which is all right, but you just end up this gangly triangle.
Like a fish.
Yeah, which at times was all right when I was training because
Salmon.
Yeah, it's silly salmon and all that. So when I'd finished swimming and got into my weights and all that type of stuff, it was all right because I already had a bit of a back and I had a bit of shoulders and all this type of stuff. So that was that. But now going into the running, that shape's just completely changed. And I'm just a bit more straight up and down now. And then you're putting on clothes that you had on the other year. And they're falling off.
I know, but it's an excuse for a new wardrobe.
It's bizarre.
I mean,
I know,
let's not moan.
I'm from Wigan. I'm tight. Mate. I'm not buying a new wardrobe. I'll just put a belt on.
Titus cramp.
Just put a belt on, tighten my shoelaces. But it is your body shape. It does change.
Yeah,
and
massively.
You'll notice it as you go along. And again, without getting a little bit too technical, as you get that little bit lighter, you get faster because your power to weight ratio is higher. So you're not pushing as much weight forward. So you get faster like that. So it does all come together. But just back on your point about chafing for a minute, and I know you have mentioned it before.
While we're on boobs.
The male version of the boob chafing, pardon me, the male version of the boob chafing is nipple issues.
Yes.
So it's only
Men have really stiff nipples like all the time, don't they?
Yeah.
Like it's crazy how a man has stiff nipples all the time. Just throwing that out there. I find it
I
fascinating.
can't believe we're only 10 minutes into this podcast.
I know, but
the word stiff nipples.
it's just what it is, isn't it?
So I had this experience in Lytham last year, and you touched on this in the last podcast. So Lytham, it scared me, Lytham, honestly, big star. Because it was red hot, wasn't it? It was boiling hot. It was so warm. Probably the warmest one I've run in.
And windy.
Windy as anything. So it was a lap course. It was 2 laps for the half. The first lap weren't too bad. And then we set off for the second. You just got this massive headwind.
The clue is windmill, though.
It was called the Windmill Half Marathon.
But, you know.
So you're going up the course, this wind's in your face, you're boiling hot. So the water they were giving us, I wasn't really drinking it. I was chucking it over my head for trying to cool myself down, which I never really did before. Which then obviously dries and causes friction and all sorts of stuff. So I'd finished the run, and then I was coming back for you when I'd finished, and I came half a mile back for you. And then we'd finished, you'd sort of collapsed on the floor after it.
That was the worst race I've ever done. It scarred me.
And my wife would come over and go, "What's on your t-shirt?" I said, "What are you on about?" And I looked, and there was these 2 red streaks that was coming down my vest. And I was like, and it was only when she mentioned it, I went, "Oh my God," like I'd not even noticed it. And then as soon as she pointed it out and I'd seen it, the pain was like nothing. I couldn't get in the shower.
It's not a mind over matter thing though, because you've not actually seen it. You never felt it.
And then as soon as I noticed it,
Pointed
I'd
it
feel
out.
it. And getting in the shower that night, I couldn't get it. It was like in and out. And just stick your head
Doesn't
in.
it burn though? It's like a raw burn. I mean,
No,
I've never had nipple
was
chafing, I'll be honest, but the
horrendous.
chafing under there.
We got, following that, I think my birthday was not long after it. Only it was our anniversary, that was it. And we said we were just getting each other like little bags of crap or whatever. And in my little bag, it was a tube a couple of inches long called Dr. Nip. And it was this, obviously, nipple cream type thing. And I thought, at first I was like, oh, you winding me up for? Like, take it, make it was killing me that. And then the next one I'd done, I thought, I'll use it. And I was that proper attractive fella. Well, that proper attractive fella at Sturtland, giving it that through my t-shirt, rubbing it into it. And it, you know.
You can get nipple plasters though, can't you, for men? Do you like nipple covers? No. Is that not a thing for men?
I'm too much of a Neanderthal for wearing nipple
But is it a thing though?
I'd imagine so, yeah.
Yeah.
In this,
I'm in a running group and I'm sure that they've like had issues with nipples.
They're probably branded as well, aren't they?
Yeah, probably. But no nipple covers.
No nipple covers.
I mean, women don't get that. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Women don't really get that, but I think that's because
This
we
is why
wear
we're a
it.
podcast for all, isn't it?
Well, maybe you need to wear a bra.
Oh, I knew that was coming.
Maybe a sports bra would
knew
stop
that
the
was coming.
nipple chafe.
Too good looking for a sport bra.
Yeah, and like going back to boobs and stuff, it's crazy because just off I know you've had a look at my form and stuff like that as well. So now I actually want my implants taken out.
Right. Completely.
I think because of the way they are, I think I'm going to have it under the muscle.
Right.
I think I'll still have to have something there. Obviously, that will not happen because it will not interrupt my marathon block. So it'll have to be the day after Manchester for me to be able to do that. But yeah, smaller because I do want to be quick and stuff like that. Plus the chafing and things like that, it would all just reduce it.
It's
And
just an issue.
this is my life now. It's changed my life running. So I do want to go down that route.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's.
There's a saying in there that's quite a well-known one of being bitten by the running bug. Oh. And I've been nibbled by it. I've been nibbled by it. You've been consumed by the running bug.
Oh, I've got icky off it,
I've never known anyone like it. It's just literally, boom, life changed.
Oh, yeah. Like, I think I've had a midlife crisis.
It was like at the start, you had work and life and all this, and running sort of just spun near it, whereas now life and work revolves around that run, doesn't it?
Yeah, like literally,
That's how you fit it in, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's how you make it work.
Definitely.
And on that, it is difficult to make time for yourself.
Yeah.
I think we're all.
You have to be selfish. And as I've seen other runners say, there's a great vitamin, and it's called vitamin N. And that's saying...
I've not heard this. Go on.
Have you not seen?
I've never heard this.
So it's called vitamin N, and it's saying no. Saying no to things and saying no to people, because we're all guilty of saying, as you will be, I'll fit you in. I'll squeeze you in. I'll do another hour. And I'm the same. And, like now, I say no. Because I am being selfish. I want that hour for my run because that's my goal.
Yeah, it's your time.
And I don't care.
And I think, from my point of view with that, I get that, and I've never heard that saying before, vitamin N, so it's quite good that. But you do...
I can't say his last name.
Go on.
Because I say it wrong every time I come in. Eloid Chiwogi.
Oh, Kipcho.
Yeah, that's it.
Bloody hell. Well, the fastest man ever lived. Who is it?
But no, I know who he is. He says it, and that's where I've got it from. Because I'm all like, I love a good quote. I love a good podcast. Love listening to people. And I think, do you know what? It's right, that.
It is right.
Definitely.
I think to be successful in anything, you've got to have the ability to be a little bit selfish.
And I think when you're starting off, if that's your goal,
that's what you want to do.
To run a 5K or to get that body that you want or to make a lifestyle change, you have to do and say no. Be selfish.
One thing I say it quite a lot at work, actually, when I come across people. Mums are brilliant to work with and an absolute nightmare to work with, because they're brilliant in the fact that they're solid, basically. They're rock hard mum. It's like they just sort of, you can do what you need to. Do it.
Man
get it.
Do that.
Do it.
Though,
blokes are soft. But go the opposite side of it. They're awful because they will put absolutely everybody before themselves. Absolutely everybody before themselves. And if you say, look, you need to do this to get your ankle better, or you need to get your knee better, or to get a little bit quicker, you've got to do this, or look, let's try and get out and do 2 runs a week at this, or I've not got time to this because little Johnny's got swimming, or I've not got time to this because Billy plays football. I've not got time. You need to find that time. You've got to have time for yourself. I get it, and I get it. And my mum and dad did it for me. They sacrificed a lot for me. I 100% get that. But there's ways and means around
and I think
having a family and raising a family and then looking after yourself as well.
100%. I think as well, when we go back to like how do you start running, what do you need to start running, something that you isn't materialistic,
You can't buy.
you can't buy, it is right. So I get my runs every Sunday. As you know, I love a good structure. So I get my runs every Sunday and I literally block out time for me. So whether that be strength training or a run, I block out my hour.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that, you know, us normal people need to do around work. And, you know, okay, I take it a little bit more serious than what I did when I did the marathon. Even though I was taking it serious at the time, I was still doing the runs and stuff. Probably my food wasn't the seriousness of it. But, you know, I still make sure that if I need to do 6 Mile Easy on a Saturday, well, I work Saturdays and I'm in sometimes 6, 7 o'clock. Well, I just get up at 4.
Yeah, I know.
And I just go in the dark. And do you know what? At first I was like, oh, but it's dark and I don't want to use it. Like, I don't want to go in the dark. But they're the best ones.
They're the best ones. There's nobody
no one
about.
There's no cars, you know,
brilliant.
cutting you up as you're crossing the road.
If you're listening to this and you've never done a 5 o'clock session in the morning,
Get out.
go to bed early tonight, get your kit ready, get all laid out, get your squares bar and your banana at the back door, and go and do it. You will love it. It's hard work, especially this time of year.
Habit though.
Yeah.
So another thing that I love is obviously I've just said about podcasts and stuff, but I hope this inspires people to listen to other things. But Atomic Habits is what I listen to,
Right, okay.
and that's about just forming that habit of getting up.
Girl band, isn't it?
No, that's Atomic Kitten.
Oh, okay.
God, I was a Spice Girl person, so I was Baby Spice.
Sorry.
But yeah, so Atomic Habits, it's about how to form them habits. And it is the hardest thing, is getting out that front door sometimes.
Yeah.
But again, we boil down to discipline and not motivation. We're not always motivated to do it, but we've got to get it in. And when you've done it, don't you feel like it sets you up for the day? The best ones are in the morning. I mean, we have a friend, don't we, called Dermot, and I couldn't run at his pace in the morning.
Absolute
because
unit.
he is an absolute animal, like he does 6 minute mile at 4 a.m. I mean,
ridiculous.
who
But
even is he?
Dermot, funny enough, with Dermot is a prime example of what we've just been talking about.
Yeah.
He's got 3 young kids.
Yeah.
That's why he does it at that time in the
Yeah.
morning. He has to do it at that time because he's got something on every single night.
He's going for sub 3 as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
Well,
He's
sub
already done that.
2:58.
Yeah, he'll smash that.
Yeah.
He's the epitome of that. He's still a dad. He still works really. He still works 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, if not longer, and all that type of stuff. Still got time for his kids. That's why he gets up at daft o'clock in the morning to do what he does, and it's just making it fit.
Yeah, exactly.
You've probably got to sacrifice your Sunday morning lying,
Yeah.
because anyone who runs realises that
Long runs are
every
Sundays.
single runner is out on a Sunday morning, and you say morning in 14 different ways. Morning, morning, all right. That's it, innit? And every runner's out on a Sunday morning. So you might have to say no to that little bit of wine on a Saturday night. And if you want to take it seriously, you can't really be going out session up on a Saturday night, because you've got to be out on a Sunday.
Because another part of what you need to start running is you need to start listening to your body and actually resting.
Yeah.
Resting, having a good night's sleep, you know. I mean, my friends like sometimes think, oh my God, you're in bed for 9 o'clock. Well, yeah, I'm asleep by 1:15, because I'm up early, out for my run. It's not necessarily the run that's tiring me out. It's because I'm up early. So all it's done is just shifted my clock a little bit over, you know. I don't go to
Still
bed at
get
11.
sleeping.
Yeah, I'm still doing exactly the same 7.5, 8 hours as such. But I find that works for me to be able to get everything in.
Yeah.
What other things do you reckon that they need to start running? We talked about trainers.
Yeah.
Talked about a bit of boobs and bras and nipple rub and
Dr. Nip.
not the stuff that you can get from Ann Summers either. I just mean like the running stuff.
No, not endorsing that. But if you want to sponsor us,
We're here for it.
We'll listen to your contract offer.
So I don't know.
Yeah,
what else?
I mean, we sort of touched on it when we had a little break before. I think having some sort of goal, whether it's
a race book.
yeah. So whether it's a race or whether it's a case of, right, I'm going to do my first park run in 6 weeks, and I'm going to get myself confident enough to go and do park run. If you've never done park run's on every Saturday morning at 9 o'clock. I personally don't do it because I work on a Saturday, so I never do it. I've done it once because it was like New Year's Day or something like that. And if you look at the spread of people, you've got people at the front who are doing sub 17-minute 5Ks, and you've got people right at the back who are take the dog for a walk, and that's it. And it isn't a race; it's just people out for a run. People do it as a community thing. They'll run with a group of them and have a bit of a chat. Some people at the front will go off like a scalded rabbit and want to get a PB and what have you. But normally they're in your local park. Do you know what I mean? So if you've never had access to it, there's probably one really close to you. So park run's quite a nice one because no one's there for win a medal or do a PB and all this type of stuff. Another one we looked at was the Couch to 5K. So I know you touched on that.
Yeah, because I have a girl that messaged me and said, I've started Couch to 5K. Obviously, she's followed me from my journey of not running. She's known me since I didn't run to doing what I've done. And she, obviously, it's inspiring for some people, you know, as well, to see what I've come from
of course it is,
and then what I've done. And she said, you'd be so proud of me. I've started Couch to 5K. And I remember having a conversation with her and she was saying, I can't run. Like, I've got bad knees, I've got this, that, the other. And now she's just doing it, you know, and that's the thing. Sometimes we can tell ourselves that we can't do it because of this X, Y, Z, time, injuries, this, that, and the other, but we can.
Yeah, of course we can.
You know, might not all be able to do a marathon, but we can all get out for a park run, and like you say, it's social, and the only competition is you.
Of course it is.
You're just trying to beat your time, or maybe you're just trying to get round without stopping. You know,
because that's massive for some people. It's absolutely huge for some people. I'd probably say someone who comes in to see us, who's done that first run without stopping, are more related than someone who's done a marathon. And I'd pin my head to that because they're absolutely gassed that they can do it.
Yeah,
like they go, oh my god, I did 5K without stopping, and it's. To somebody who, like I said, he does marathon, or someone who's an elite athlete, or 5K's a warm-up, and you go, 5K's not even worth putting your trainers on for that.
Yeah.
But for some people, that is huge. It's such a big thing. And to be able to do it without stopping and without getting relatively out of breath, or to do it with their husband or wife, whatever it is, and have a chat while they're doing it, it's massive for them. And I think that's what the Couch to 5K is really good for, because it's really progressive. I actually utilise it quite a bit with work. If you have people who are really nervous about getting back into running, or they've had a major surgery or whatever it is, and they've never really ran before and they want to try and get back into it, it's difficult for me to monitor someone who's only come and seen us for an hour every 4 weeks or whatever. Whereas a Couch to 5K keeps them structured a little bit.
Yeah.
It's just a case
good
of
structure.
Good structure, but it's really progressive.
Yeah.
And I know we've spoken about it before. Everything's got to be progressive, whether it's upping your mileage or upping your training load, or if you're recovering from injury, it's got to be progressive, because if your load spikes too much, that's when your injuries occur. So that's what Couch to 5K I found for a complete novice is really useful for, as a form of almost injury prevention in a way.
Yeah, and do you know, on injury prevention, one thing that I think is like a controversial subject is, but it's really relevant for people, I think especially women that don't want to go out running on the streets, maybe in the dark, or, you know, they don't want anybody to see them. I remember that used to be me. I did not want anyone to see me running, like, wow,
people see me
thumb on the run, round Wigan. Absolutely not. No, I didn't want that to happen. I didn't want anybody to see me because I thought, I'm bright red, like, I'm out of breath. I can't even... when I started, I couldn't even continue. Like, I had to have a little minute. And so I think treadmills are great for, you know, better on the joints and not as much impact as what pounding the pavements is every day. So, and it just gets you a bit more confident to run, so that when you can do that 5K on the treadmill, you know, although, do you know what? They have the limitations, don't they? It can be boring. But, you know, you can put music in, watch something on your phone, or... I think they're great. They're a great tool to be utilised. You're in a gym, so you're more secure. So I think that's the thing. And also, when I've just said about stopping, even sometimes now, if I've not fueled right, like, I have a little minute, and it doesn't matter. I can run a marathon, and I can run a half, and I can do it in a good time, but that's because I'm fueled right, I'm rested right, my legs are fresh, you know, there's loads of stuff. Whereas like people are like, oh, I still can't do 10k with it. I need a little minute, or oh, that run was rubbish. I stopped. I stop. I stop. Everybody stops,
Yeah.
and if you don't, you're lying.
Yeah, and it's a good point you make there about fueling, because it's bizarre, isn't it, how you can do a run on the Monday and feel like you're flying. Like you think, oh my God, I've nailed it. I've absolutely smashed it. You've not really considered the fact you had 8 hours sleep on Sunday. You've eaten really well. You probably had a bigger dinner the night before, so you're a bit more carved up. You probably work half day, whatever it might be. You don't really consider all the factors. You think, oh, I'm just flying.
Hydration.
Yeah, you're hydrated. You've eaten not too long before, an hour before, or whatever. So you're all fueled. And then Wednesday, you've been in work 13 hours. You come home, you're putting little into bed. You're doing this. You're cooking teas. You're prepping
Stressful
that.
day as well.
Stressful day, and then you go for a run, totally unfueled at 9 o'clock at night. You're trying to do a speed session. It's just not going to work. It's
So I
just not gonna
remember,
happen.
you know, going to, just because we said about stressful then, I remember, because I've got a bit of OCD and stuff, I remember going to Lytham the week before Lytham, right?
Right.
Because I wanted to go through the route. I wanted to run
Okay.
the route.
Yeah.
So I knew, but because I'm so new still, you know. I'd done my marathon, yeah, I've got my teeth into it, and I'd done a half at Southport, and this was my next half, and I thought, I'm going to run the route, so I know what to expect on the day. And I'd had a really stressful week at work, and I was really congested in my head. And you know, I couldn't run 2 mile. Well, I was supposed to do a 10 mile that day on the Sunday, long run day. Went up there and I did 2 mile, and I texted my coach and I said, I'm really struggling. Now, this pace should have been easy for me. It wasn't at the full pace, but it was near. Should have been easy for me. I couldn't do it. I ran the next 3 mile crying, so I've done 5 mile at this point, and I mean in floods of tears.
Yeah.
I was beside myself because I've got a race next week. So you get in your own head.
Yeah,
I
of course
can't do it. Like, wow. And you know, Lytham was hard, but it wasn't like 2 mile in hard. And that's just because of the stress in your head. So there's loads of things.
There is actually a theory on that, which is quite famous and everyone knows it. There's running and exercise in general is 80% psychological
Oh, yeah.
and then 20% physical. For the time when you, and again, another theory, when you think you've finished, you're only about 40% done.
Oh, yeah.
Because you think your head's telling you, oh, I'm done, I've finished, my legs are knackered. Every person after a mile is knackered. Only what, I'm tired. The mile from our house is uphill all the way, and every time it's at the top of the hill going, "Oh, it never gets easier. That why is it still so hard?" And after, if someone says to me at that point, "Do you want to go home?" I go, "Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. I want to go home. I've had enough. It hurts."
Mile's
And then
always the hardest, though, the first one.
That first
anyway.
mile's disgusting. And I think, to be honest, I think that's what people who try and get into running find difficult because, like I said, they're just throwing out there, oh, that first mile's horrible. Some people, to run non-stop a mile, it's a long distance.
Yeah.
And
Start running, though, you've got to do your breathing.
yeah, your breathing's got to click. And your breathing will click and you go, oh, I can breathe a bit now.
And then mile 2 and 3, you think, well, why did I find mile 1 when I was on fresh legs?
Yeah.
So hard. Like, these are easy.
And that's it. It's because your heart rate starts so low that, do you warm up, people?
Yeah.
Your heart rate starts relatively low.
Do as I say, not as I do.
And then you go
I
bang.
actually do, Jonathan.
Yeah.
I do my warm-up. I do my mobility.
I do.
I am the best student, as you know.
Yeah.
I do anything that you tell me. If you told me to jump in
No.
a fire to make me faster, I would.
Yeah. And I
Genuinely.
don't.
And he doesn't do that, by the way.
I don't know. I am actually all right. And that's it. And it's trying to get over the fact that when you're telling yourself, I'm tired, my legs are, oh my God, my knees are hurting, and all, it's not actually. There's a large psychology side of it. And I know you sort of have touched on it before. Give yourself a rest.
Oh, yeah.
Give yourself a breather. Like people start. It's a bit like dieting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where if you have a crash diet for 6 weeks and you completely restrict everything and you eat a little bowl of dust for 4 days, at the end of that 6 weeks you go, give me a burger. I've had enough of eating dust and sawdust shavings and
So
stuff.
drastic, though,
It's
that,
just
innit?
drastic. Where if you do the same with running, you go, right, I've never run before in my entire life. It's January the 1st. there's my trainers, I'm going to run every day this week. By the time you get to Sunday, you think my legs are killing me. I hate this. Why do people do it? All that time. Give yourself a breather.
Realistic expectations.
Yeah. Goal setting.
Goal setting.
Give yourself a realistic goal. Give yourself a realistic target to hit, and give yourself
a time
yeah.
frame as well to do that. So when you're starting running, if you are thinking of wanting to do something extreme, because marathon running is extreme, like we probably are a little bit psycho, wanting to put our bodies through that. Even half marathon, you know, it's extreme. So if you are going to do that, that's fine, but make sure that you have a realistic time frame to be able to achieve that. So then you're never disappointed with yourself or let down. So that's something when you start running.
Have you come across SMART goals before?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's what we're talking about.
Love SMART targets. Love them.
Achievable.
Yeah.
Achievable and making them specific and all that stuff. Give yourself a time frame, measurable, and that's it. That realistic time frame is exactly. You're never going to go from January the 1st, never run before, to right, I want to do a sub 40 10k in 6 weeks. It's just not. Some people will because they're just genetic freaks, but it's just not achievable.
I think as well when I start running, the other thing as well as obviously clothing, trainers, all that side of things that you need. I'm going to touch on you as well.
Me?
And I say you because you're my physio.
Right,
so
okay.
I
thought I was in trouble.
You know, so I'm going to tell you a little bit of something. It might actually just, it's defo going to trigger you here, right? Just be prepared, okay?
Well,
so I obviously listened to Kieran when he said you need to put a physio in place, done that. I know we keep on top of my tendon, and I know I've had nothing really, just probably I've had a trigger point in my quad. Yes. See how well educated you've got me. That may be to other people what they know as a knot, but that's not what Jonathan uses, okay?
My heart rate's just calm a little bit.
He hates me calling it a knot.
Your muscles don't get knotted, people.
They have a trigger point. So I had a little bit of one in my quad, which is obviously with ironed out, if you like, massaged out.
There's a bit more to it than that.
A bit more to it. But yeah, I've been to physio and I've got on top of it straight away and it's absolutely fine. And I've had somebody who messaged me about the hip flexor. Before Christmas, the hip flexor was sore. They've had 10 days off, then gone for a run and done 10 mile.
Is it sore again by any chance?
And then it's sore again.
Well, that's a surprise.
Would you believe
it?
It's sore again. But they did go slow, but you know, still, even though you've gone slow, it's a lot, 10 miles to just go. Despite, because you obviously reversibility is quicker than progression. So the fact that they've had 10 days off will have caused them some reversibility, plus the fact that they've got the bit of the niggle, if you like. So then, they're off, right? So I've said, you need to go to physio. Their response was, well, what are they going to do? Tell me to rest. And I was like, what?
No.
Are you
A bad
mad?
one will. A bad one will.
I was like,
or a lazy one will, actually.
I said, no way. I said, they won't tell you to rest. They'll tell you, they'll obviously sort the problem out as best they can when you go to the appointment. I said, but you need to get in like you know me. If I've got a niggle on Monday, I'm begging you for an appointment for Tuesday or Monday night. Like, I don't care if it's... well, usually it's 6 a.m.
6 o'clock in the morning. Because normally I'm booked up that quickly. And then when Danielle starts kicking my door in, it's like, right, 6 o'clock it is then.
I know, because I'm just... But I think that shows that my education side of things, where I've gone from to... And then the lack in, say, this person who said this, and now their appointment is on the 30th of this month, so it's still.
So what is it today?
So what are we on
today?
So we're still and they're doing Manchester Marathon. It's crazy, crazy.
You'd be going schizo.
So I could not have all that time off. I'm not saying that. You might not rest them, as in you might, you give them active rest.
Yeah, so rest is relative. So I always say rest isn't rehab. So rest is relative to what the issue is. So say, for example, you've got what are probably described in the past as a repetitive strain injury, so an overuse injury basically, and your mileage is at 50 odd miles and that type of thing, you've got to try and balance out your performance level and your sort of injury progression and things like that. We can't say to you, right, do you know what, you're not running anymore. There'll be certain, don't get me wrong, there'll be certain things where it's like, look, you cannot run on this. There will be things like that, but when it's more of an overuse thing, it's like, look, let's scale it back a bit. Let's drop your mileage back, let's drop your pace back, let's vary that, do a bit of cross training, low load, cycling, swimming, cross training, whatever it might be. Let's manage it that way. This is your rehab to be doing, this is your strength training, because people go down the line of, I'm going to stretch it, I'll stretch it out. Brilliant, it's going to feel mint for 30 minutes and then it'll go straight back to as it was. We've got to get the strength back into it. But your person there who's just sort of rested it, all that's happening there is the aggravating factor, which is the run, isn't happening, so it's not aggravating it. So it's resting, it's chilling out, and as soon as he or she, whatever, tries to put that aggravating factor back in, the running, it fires off again.
Yeah.
So they either go, I'll just keep resting it and doing that way around, or they go, I can't run me, it's not good for me hip. And that's it. And they don't do anything else about it. Not a case of, do you know what, I want to run, but when I run my hip hurts, how can I fix it? They just go, I'm just not running it.
Yeah, because I think, like, again, only through education, through yourselves and other professionals that I've picked up along the way, is I've carried on running regardless of anything that I've had. Obviously he's back, like you said, but it was mandatory for me to put in place or a physio as such. And I don't think people realise that, obviously we get into the nitty gritty now when we have sessions, running form and my posture and stuff, but that'll take time. That's the smaller things, but
so that's the accumulative 1%ers for you to try and get faster and better and stuff like that.
And I think running, for anybody who's starting, will expose the area of weakness that you have.
It will.
So,
of course it will.
I know we had the lady with is it in the foot, the plan?
Plantar fasciitis.
Yeah, so again, she started running and it's exposed the weakness. Running will do that.
Yeah, of course it will.
So that's the reason why we need to start putting in place physios. Now, again, affordability and everything else. You don't have to be every 2 weeks.
No.
Or every 3. You can be every month, but you still need to be doing something just to keep on top. And even when there's not a problem, to still be going, just so that there is not a problem.
Yeah, you're trying to
starting.
Prevention's the cure, basically. That's what you're trying to look at. And again, like I said, we're probably getting into the nitty gritty of stuff, but that initial getting out there, you're trying to avoid injury as well, basically. And to do that is sort of back to the original point. It's just to give yourself that bit of breathing time, bit of breathing space. If you've never run before, just run a couple of times a week. Give yourself probably an excessive amount of rest just to let everything recover. And as you start to get better, slowly up your mileage, slowly increase it. If you're doing, 5 mile a week? 10%, no more in terms of increasing it. So if you're doing 10 mile a week, 11 week after. Do you know what I mean? If you're in that sort of novice category and you've never done it before, increments of 10% per week, you'll be all right with. If you start going from, right, I only run 10 mile a week and, I've done 50 this week, expect something to go wrong.
And you know what else as well, like that I found? So I've always done strength training. I know that you've said that you did strength training before running. I find that if you come across runners, they just run. And actually, I've still always maintained my strength because I still have Sam as my PT. So if you're starting off running, you can get like a run coach and things like that as well if you're wanting a bit more structure and some accountability, because that's what obviously personal trainers, run coaches are for. But, the strength training, it's the clue is in the word. It's to strengthen everything, which then obviously it's like a big circle and it helps with the physio massive. And then helps with your run and it's a full thing, like you were saying before about recovery and everything else. Food, food to
fuel. How long have you got? Nutrition.
Yeah, so we'll get on that topic anyway. But again, something's a basic understanding of food and protein.
Yeah, and carbohydrates aren't the devil.
Yeah, for
not the
women,
devil.
they are though.
Oh,
I mean, not for me. I absolutely love a good
Everyone
carb
loves a
load,
good carb.
but
give me that saurine.
yeah, saurine disgusting.
Saurine is brilliant. Do you know before Edinburgh, I had 3 loaves of saurine?
That is disgusting.
God, I'll tell you why.
I'd be sick. No, in fact,
Do you know what it was with boredom?
do you know what I would do?
What?
Right, my stomach would go and I'd genuinely need a shit. No jokes.
You said shit on the
I'm
internet.
so sorry.
Shit on the internet.
It's okay.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry. We can say that on
Wait,
here.
what'd you say?
Northern. We're northern.
Northern. So what you want when you're northern?
Because your stomach's a muscle. So,
That's an organ.
yeah. So, so your stomach's a muscle. So again, like, obviously, like you were saying about carbs and you've had that saurine and stuff, you have to train your stomach for running.
Cope with stuff,
To
yeah.
cope with stuff because again, another topic that we will do another time, but your stomach obviously you have to manipulate your body with carbs before a run, protein after a run, and during the run your stomach obviously a bit nitty gritty, but like your body moves the blood away from your stomach and pumps it to the areas that it needs. So then that's when you can get like stomach cramps and other issues that might come up. And
But you've been reading up, haven't you? You've been
I'm
doing
here
some
now.
reading, haven't you?
I'm here now. So yeah,
Pile of books in the
I
desk
know
drawer.
they're like I am a full geek, you know this. So it is normal though as well, but it's about for starting a runner starting. These are all normal things,
Totally normal
and
things.
normal things that you just need to put the basics in place. You know, I'm not saying go out and don't measure your bowl of pasta the night before like I did, so you look like a thumb running around Manchester, but manipulate your body. You know, as soon as I get in now, I have, for convenience, because I just don't really have time like most people, I don't use it as an excuse. I have them U-Fit shakes, and depending on how hard the session is, within 30 minutes of finishing my run, do I want to drink a protein shake right now? No.
Not really.
Do I yet? Because I feel sick, blood pressure's through the roof, like heart rate and whatever. I just neck it, get it done, protein done, in, repaired. Do you know what? You feel so much better the next day.
And one last thing from me on that, you will make mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
You will
massive.
make for months and years.
Like if you have saurine.
Saurine's brilliant.
Disgusting. No, I do know a lot of people who have saurine, to be fair.
And I did PB, so we'll leave it there.
Let you off.
So, but you will make mistakes. The important thing is learning from them mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
And I know it's a real old cliche, learn from mistakes and all this, but it does happen. Like
But that's how we've got here.
Yeah, like Manchester last year, if I look at the way I paced it and the way I ran it, horrendous. Absolutely shocking. I was like, every time there was a big crowd, I was nailing it. I was like, oh, everyone look how quick I am. And then I was chilling out when there was no crowds going about. And then as I got to the end when my legs died, it just went off a cliff. And I was just struggling all the way to the end. And
Soul evaporated.
if you look at that or you give that to running coach or anyone like that, they just go, what are you playing at?
Yeah.
But I learned from it. Do you know what I mean? And Edinburgh was the complete polar opposite, and it was the same pace every kilometre, every mile, all the way through.
Yeah.
And you got to learn from it, and you'll learn when you're taking certain gels. Some gels might not agree with you. So
We haven't actually touched on gels,
We'll get onto gels.
but we will get onto gels.
We'll get onto gels. Some might not agree with you, so you'll learn from that. So you go, right, I don't have them. I take these ones instead. Or you'll learn that you're better running in the morning, or you're better in the evening, or you'll find when your structure works best for you, or what mileage works for you, and things like that. You just gotta. It is learning on the job, innit? You can listen to people like us. You can listen to podcasts, or you can
listening to your body is
read
the main
things,
thing.
yeah.
You know, like I've done a few track sessions at night time, but I've worked all day. I've probably not got the water in that I needed. Probably not got the food in that I've needed. I've gone on a track, and I think I'm shit, me. I said shit again.
Said shit again.
Oh, you've just said it.
Shit, I've said
Shit.
it. Oh shit.
So I think, I'm rubbish. Me. I can't do that pace. But actually, there's a million other factors. And do you know what? I probably, even though I know, I still do it now. You know, I still think, like I'm rubbish and I'll never do that. You know, because doubt sets in and stuff like that. But yeah, like you say, learn from experience. That's what it gets you, why we're here today. Just keep improving, bettering yourself.
Better yourself and run your own race.
Yeah. Don't pacing.
Do your own thing.
Oh, that's what I want to say though.
Go on, before we go, you tell us what you're saying.
Starting when you're starting running, don't think that you have to run every run fast.
Yeah, I know.
Because That's what I used to think.
That's what I used to
mean,
do.
my fast was not fast, but I
It used
did.
to didn't it make you feel sick, though?
Oh, yeah, really
Felt
bad.
horrendous, me, after when I was doing them 5Ks and stuff. No, full tilt at horrendous.
And you know, sometimes still end up going out on my long runs now, and I'm still having to like look at the clock and think, oh, rein it in. You're getting a bit too, because sometimes you feel like you're shuffling when you're doing a slower pace. But
Especially
yeah,
if you see someone you know.
Yeah.
See someone you know, you're definitely up there.
Form's on point.
Yeah.
Just
Sprinting
full on,
past.
shoulders
Yeah.
relaxed.
I'm not even sweating. Not in broke a sweat.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely run your slow runs slow. That is.
Yeah. Slow and slow. Focus on your rest. Focus on your recovery. Progressive. Don't go out too fast. And don't be too bothered about fancy pants pair of trainers. Just get some comfy ones.
Yeah.
And let's get on with it.
Yeah.
And book something. Book a target.
Yeah. Always have a target. I usually work in like 8-week blocks.
I need something me up.
I like a block so that I can do a block. Then as soon as I'm coming up to that week, I'm messaging my running coach. So what's the next block? Like, what's the next race? Can I book it? And he's like, no, we'll do the race this weekend and then I'll speak to you. Like, he literally will not let me pre-book anything unless it's like marathon block where, you know, we've said we're doing Trimple, aren't we, Jonathan?
No, we're not.
Yeah, we're doing Trimple.
No, we're not.
So, yeah, so unless it's like that where it's for a sub race for a particular race, I always like having a good block to a realistic expectation and time to get to that race, to get to that standard.
Yeah.
So I've got a few girls doing Aintree.
Oh, yeah.
So they're doing Aintree 10K, so that's in a few weeks. So again, they've started off in my running club and stuff, and some have got half marathons booked, so that's like a nice little, very flat course that they can get round. It's a nice one, isn't it? You know, so I'm going to go and cheer them on the sideline. Hopefully I can run it, but I don't know.
No,
you know,
he'll not let you.
Coach won't let me.
Coach won't
let me. Anything else to say on starting running?
No, I think that's it. I think we've
covered
everything.
Yeah.
So as always, get in touch with us. If there's anything you want us to cover, anything you want to query about or ask us about, get in touch with us. Let us know, and we'll be back with our next episode very soon.
Northern Runners coming at you.
Northern Runners coming at you.
Running at you.
Oh, running at you.
Northern Runners running at you.
All right, come on, we'll have that one. New tagline.